The hunt for a man accused of shooting and killing a pregnant woman and injuring another continues tonight. Investigators tell WIS 44-year-old Troy Wells of Sumter shot and killed 33-year-old Jennifer Marie Cruz early Saturday morning. Cruz was 8 months pregnant at the time.
She died at the hospital and her child had to be surgically removed. The shooting happened at the Royal Inn Motel just off the 1700 block of North Main Street in downtown Sumter.
Our Ashley Jones is live there now after speaking with Cruz's sister today. Such an emotional interview, Ashley. I know you had an opportunity to speak with the Sumter County Sheriff as well.
Yes, Judy and Hannah. Well, first I want to give you all an update on that baby. We learned today that the baby had to be surgically removed from Cruz just minutes after she was pronounced dead at the hospital. Cruz's sister, Ashley Cannon, tells me that it is a baby girl, and while she's still in the hospital, she is expected to be okay.
So we'll have Ashley's story for you in just a moment. She had an opportunity to talk with family members earlier today, and obviously, as you can imagine, an emotional interview. Let's take a listen.
She had a pretty little pink dress on and her flip-flops, and she was so happy, you know.
It's one of the last memories that Ashley Cannon has of her sister, 33-year-old Jennifer Cruz. Just happy to be welcoming another child into the world.
The baby was everything to her. You know, she was so excited she was having another child.
But that excitement turned to tragedy in just a matter of moments. According to an incident report, Cruz was shot and killed by this man, 44-year-old Troy Wells, early Saturday morning.
Everybody loved her. She was such a nice person. She would do anything for anybody, you know.
Cannon says Cruz had a tumultuous romantic relationship with Wells that had been going on for about a year, but had recently cut ties with him. Cannon says the two had a history of domestic violence.
They had lots of physical altercation, not to the point where she would call the cops, but she told me a few things, but she didn't want to tell me much because she knew I would get upset. So I think she hid a lot from me.
Warrants were issued for Troy Wells on Saturday afternoon. According to those warrants, Wells was waiting for Cruz at this motel where the two were living. The other victim has not been identified, but investigators say he was a white male and a friend of Cruz. Investigators say both Cruz and the other victim arrived here at the motel around 5:40 in the morning. When they got here, Wells began shooting at their car. Bullets pierced through the car, ultimately striking both Cruz and the other victim. According to the Sumter sheriff, Cruz was reportedly shot twice, once in the upper body and once in the back.
He had prior knowledge of her and her condition of being pregnant.
Sheriff Dennis says this is one of the most heinous crimes he's seen in his 40 years in law enforcement. Dennis believes a picture posted to Cruz's Facebook account just a day before the incident is what led to the shooting. That picture appeared to show Wells with another woman.
I was made aware of that after the incident occurred. Yes, I've seen that.
So do we know who this other woman is in this picture?
No, we're trying to identify her now. We believe that may have initiated or caused the incident that occurred with the domestic violence. My understanding that was posted a couple hours prior to the homicide.
And Sheriff Dennis told me that if you know where Wells is and you are helping to hide him in any type of way, they find out who you are, you will face charges as well. Now, we also found that Wells has an extensive criminal background dating back to 1997. Some of those arrests, some of those charges were for domestic violence, but the most recent charge was in 2021 when he was arrested for possession of a stolen gun. He was actually out on bond for that crime when this incident took place. Reporting here in Sumter, I'm Ashley Jones, WIS News 10.
Ashley, thank you for that report. We want to give you another look at Troy Wells. Again, authorities say he is armed and dangerous. They do not want you to approach him, but if you see him or think you might know where he is, they are asking that you call 911 immediately. Obviously, this tragic death highlights the issue of domestic violence here in South Carolina. Our state having a history of being one of the top states, one of the worst states in cases where a woman is killed by a man. Since the Violence Policy Center started tracking this data 25 years ago, South Carolina has been in the top 10 in all but one of those years.
Jalen Tart looked into the resources that are available. Jalen, what is the most important step someone who is in an abusive relationship can take?
Yeah, so experts say that those first steps to take are to speak up and to seek help when you need it. And earlier today, I sat down and spoke with Leah Wisovich, Executive Director of Sister Care, and she says it takes on an average of 6 to 7 times for the survivor to leave an abusive relationship before they leave permanently. Now, according to the National Coalition of Domestic Violence, 42% of those women in South Carolina experience some sort of violence by their partner. And Sister Care is a non-profit organization where victims of domestic violence can turn to for help. Now, Wisovich says that legislation is needed to help protect those survivors and to help combat the issue.
It's such a dangerous situation for survivors, for their families, for law enforcement, when abusers have firearms or want to, hurt or murder their partner. And so we work closely with the South Carolina Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault to make sure that our voices are heard with government.
Now, there is a hotline available for you or anyone you know who needs help against domestic violence. That number is 800-799-SAFE. And reporting in the studio, Jalen Tart, WIS News 10.